French President Emmanuel Macron has disrespected Africa, and African presidents are furious. We're gonna find out just now. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. Yay! I salute you from all over the place. Sani Bonani, South Africa. Jebaleko, Basebona Banyabo, Ugandan. Shikamo, Tanzania. VP, Kenya. Amakuru, Nimeza, Rwanda and Burundi. I see you. Nigeria, Ghana, Tobago, Trinidad, Jamaica, United States of America. Thank you very much. If you want to know about news in Africa, you are at the right spot. We don't know each other, but we're going to love each other. Trust me. Okay? You want to know what's happening in the continent, you are at the right spot. You want to know what's happening in the next African country in terms of culture, in terms of environment, geopolitics, you are at the right place. You want to know how Nigerians think, you are at the right place. You want to get news about South Africans, you are at the right place. Thank you very much. Today, we're going to talk about something very interesting. The French president has said something that has shocked most people, and Africans are very furious about it. This is what he said.
We had a secure relationship. In truth, it was of two kinds. One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
So as you can see, Senegal and Chad have reacted strongly to the remarks by French President Emmanuel Macron about African countries being ungrateful over France's role in helping fight jihadists in the continent. So Macron was having a discussion with his ambassadors, okay? And while he was talking, Macron likes to talk quite a bit. He said that Africans are ungrateful. They were supposed to say thank you to us, but they didn't. I know we are respectful people. It's fine. They're supposed to thank us for that, for all the sacrifice we've done for them. On Monday, Macron said Sahel state forgot to thank France for its role. Now, he said two things, and I want you to note. Number one, he said no Sahelian country would have been sovereign nation without France's help. No Sahelian country will be sovereign without France's intervention that prevented them from falling under the control of militants.
Le dialogue avec l'Afrique ne peut pas être l'otage d'un panafricanisme de bonne loi contemporain qui utilise en quelque sorte un discours postcolonial en ayant d'ailleurs des soutiens de revers qui sont les impérialistes d'aujourd'hui. Et donc, cette espèce de combination de faux intellectuels manipulant les réseaux sociaux, utilisant le désarroi d'une jeunesse et les intérêts de la Russie ou d'autres en Afrique, soyons lucides, mais n'y cédons pas.
So, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be a country. You'd probably be the Bush or Afghanistan. That's how he said. He said we were right to deploy. I think someone forgot to say thank you. And it's okay. Okay, it comes with time. I mean, how do you speak that way? It's okay, it comes with time. It's like somebody say to you, I don't want to have children in the future. Or I don't want to be married. I'm just saying. It's like a child says, I don't want to go to school. I don't think school is important. And you as an adult, you say to them, no, don't worry. In the future, you'll understand. That's how you speak to your child, right? It's okay, it will come with time. You'll understand why you needed to go to school. Number two, he said, we propose to the African head of state to reorganize our presence. As we are very polite, we left them with the primacy of the announcement. So it's okay, it will come with time. You'll understand why you needed to say thank you to us for making you sovereign. And that has infuriated many people, especially the Senegalese and the Chadian president. They have reacted.
Je voudrais exprimer mon indignation vis-à-vis des propos tenus récemment par le président Macron qui frise les mépris envers l'Afrique et les Africains. Je crois qu'il se trompe d'époque. La décision de mettre fin à l'accord de coopération militaire avec la France est entièrement une décision souveraine du Tchad. Cela ne souffre d'aucune ambiguïté.
We negotiated with them. We discussed with them. Okay? And because we're polite, we allowed them to announce that we're leaving the continent. Okay, let me just put it this way for you. So France has been in the African continent for the longest time, okay? Let's not talk about colonialism. Let's just talk about very lately when they proposed to come to Africa and fight against terrorists that they created as per many experts. How did they create terrorism? When they went to attack Libya, okay, destroying Libya, there were a bunch of people that became terrorists in that area of life. So France and America decided that they did not want Gaddafi anymore. What did they do? They went and spoke to some people that were actually terrorists. They called them freedom fighters. They sponsored them. They gave them weapons. Those people went and fought Gaddafi and they took over the government. What happened next? After Gaddafi was unalive, the same people started creating mayhem in that side of Africa. Look at the map. This is Sahel. These are the same people that French and Americans sponsored that have become what you call now terrorists. Now he's saying you should be grateful that we came into Africa. You know, you should be grateful for that. And this is how African head of state have reacted. This is the Prime Minister of Senegal, Ousmane Sonko. He was supposed to be the president. Sonko said, I would like to say that in the case of Senegal, this statement is completely erroneous. No discussion or negotiation has taken place to date, and the decision taken by Senegal arises from its sole will as a free country, independent and sovereign. So what is he saying here? Let me just remind you, a few weeks ago, Senegal kicked out the French. Okay, after Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad, Senegal also said, France, take your soldiers and leave our country.
J'ai instruit le ministre des Forces armées de proposer une nouvelle doctrine de coopération en matière de défense et de sécurité, impliquant, entre autres conséquences, la fin de toutes les présences militaires des pays étrangers au Sénégal dès 2025.
Now, the French president is trying to say that the reason why we are being kicked out of these African countries, it's in fact a negotiation that's been taking place between us and the African countries' leaders. But because we're very polite, we've allowed them to come forward and express themselves and say, you leave. Senegalese Prime Minister say, absolutely not. For us, as a sovereign country, we have decided to kick you out. So don't be telling all that narrative that's absolutely not correct. Take it on the chin. Sonko continued by saying, let us note that France has neither the capacity nor the legitimacy to ensure Africa's security and sovereignty. So France does not have the capacity to ensure our security. Just because you came here for a few years doesn't mean you ensure our security. You know, it's not you. The Senegalese Prime Minister also said that France in the past contributed to destabilizing certain African countries, such as Libya, which had disastrous consequences for the region in terms of security. So this is very interesting, fellas. Now, Sonko continued by saying, you coming here explaining all these things to your ambassador, trying to make them feel like these Africans are ungrateful. Do you remember that back in time, it's actually African soldiers that were sometimes forcibly mobilized, mistreated, and ultimately betrayed. They were deployed in France during World War II to fight against Germany. Perhaps if those Africans were not sent to France, France would perhaps by now still be German. Do you understand that? So France was occupied by Germany during World War II. That was actually the reason for that war, because Germany was taking up countries in Europe. And France brought in, sometimes by force, soldiers from African countries to come and fight for them. And those soldiers are the one that took over Paris from the end of the Germans. They pushed the Germans back. And he's reminding them, do you remember those guys? If it was not for us, you saying you helping us, if it was not for us, perhaps your country will still be German by now. In fact, you're saying we should be grateful. No, you should be grateful because African people that came from Africa going to France and fight for you, you betrayed them. Because what happened, let me give you context. When those Africans fought for France, before they entered Paris, the general at the time of France made sure that he moved all the blacks aside and let only white soldiers come in front. So the population can see that it's the French that actually beat the Germans. It would be disastrous for them to have black people liberating France from another power. Those soldiers were promised many things: citizenship, money, salary, insurances, and many other things. At the end of the war, many of them did not receive what they were promised. And what happened to them is they sent them back to Senegal, and many of them were unalive. They put them on the line. Yes, that's what France did. And he's reminding them, you're saying we should be grateful of you coming to Africa to free us? What kind of freedom are you talking about? Matter of fact, you should be grateful because we sent our soldiers to your country. If it was not for African soldiers, maybe France would still be German by now. Now, Chad, this is Chad. You can see here the foreign minister. He says France's contribution to the country was limited to its own strategic interest.
The government of the Republic of Chad expresses its deep concern at the remarks made recently by the president of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron. which reflect a contemptuous attitude towards Africa and Africans. Instead of attacking Africa, President Macron should concentrate his efforts on solving the problems that preoccupy the French people. Chad wishes to reiterate that it has no problem with France as a nation, nor with the French people, with whom it shares a history marked by human and cultural relations. However, French leaders must learn to respect the African people and recognize the value of their sacrifices.
So he's saying France came to Africa not because France was nice. France came for its own strategic gains. So Chad ended the defensive agreement with France in November last year, saying that it was time for Chad to assert its full sovereignty and redefine its strategic partnership according to national priorities.
France is an essential partner, but it must now also consider that Chad has grown up. Chad has matured. Chad is a sovereign state.
So France has been kicked out of many African countries. And Emmanuel Macron, let me tell you, he says things that upsets everybody. He has in the past upset Donald Trump. He has upset Africans. He has upset Vladimir Putin. He has upset China. He has even upset his own people from France. So sometimes he gets too hot, saying things. Africans should be grateful because we came to Africa. If it wasn't for France, you wouldn't be sovereign today. Africans should be grateful because we are good people and stuff like that. It's crazy. He said many things in the past. A while ago, while Morocco was going through a very difficult time, there was earthquake in Morocco and many countries were offering help to Morocco. You know what Macron said? He says Morocco knows what France is capable of offering and the quality of things we bring. Now, if Morocco need help, they just need to say and ask for help. We're going to help them. Imagine somebody has just lost many people, houses and buildings and stuff has been and you saying, what I can offer. If you need help, you can just ask. Do you do that or do you say, okay, can I please help you? And guess what? The Moroccan king refused the help from France. He said, you can keep that help for yourself. You don't need it. We can do it ourselves. Showing a level of pride. That's what it is, fellas. I want to know what you think about this. French president saying that Africans should be grateful that French people came to Africa, bringing new civilization. No, he didn't say that. But yeah, bringing new security and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for France, you'd probably be, the bush. You wouldn't be sovereign countries. So you should be grateful. You should learn how to say thank you. But we're going to give you some time to learn how to say thank you. And 2 African leaders have reacted very harshly about that. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. Somebody said that the hand that gives is always above the hand that receives. And sometimes it's necessary not to accept help from everybody. Because sometimes people that are actually taking from you begin to think that they are offering you or doing you a favor. God bless.